I don't think anybody would, in the room would not be supportive of genuine sort of grassroots activism in Syria. Isn't the danger that by opposing Assad now, you're supporting the US's great game, its pathway to Iran?
I'm not interested in the US game plan, and I oppose it. All I'm interested in is the democratic left-wing and civil society activists in Syria. I listen to them and them alone, and they have a just cause. In the same way that black Africans struggling against apartheid had a just cause, the Spanish people struggling against Franco had a just cause, the Chilean people struggling against Pinochet had a just cause. So whatever the US game plan is, and they may have a game plan, they may have a game plan, but I don't care about it. I'm not interested. I don't support it. I oppose it.
Look at Iraq.
Can I ask you something, Peter? If you have an objective which is democracy in Syria and you want to support democratic activists, but their allies are Satan, if you know what I mean. If there was a really bad force that was supporting that aim that you had for their own tactical reasons, wouldn't that make you think, well, I support the Syrian objective of the Democrats, but their allies have got a much more wicked agenda, which if I lend support despite them being there, the danger is that you lend support to the wicked agenda?
Well, the Syrian Democrats have no allies with al-Nusra, ISIS or any other Islamists. The Syrian Democrats oppose the Islamist extremists with the same ferocity that they oppose Assad. And as I mentioned, in many of the areas where the Islamists do have influence, there have been mass protests organized by Syrian Democrats, left-wingers and civil society activists against those Islamists. So the idea that they are somehow together is a complete fiction and a deep slur on the integrity of those very brave Syrians who share exactly our human rights and democracy values. How can we talk about wanting democracy and human rights in this country if we won't support the people who want exactly the same thing in Syria today?
Sorry, Peter, I was talking about the Americans and the British, not the jihadis.
Well, I don't support the Americans and the British. I don't support the Americans and British. I support the Syrian Democrats, left-wingers and civil society activists. I've said it umpteen times.
I'm no expert. I came today to learn, but I have never been to Syria. But I have a very close friend who's a Syrian refugee. He can't go back to Syria now, and this is what he tells me. He tells the Syrian civil population, the Syrian people hate Assad. They see him as a monster. They hate ISIS. They hate all the intervention. Originally, he was against all Western bombing, but even now he feels, well, maybe it's going to take that. He's not a political person. He's just telling me how it is, how he experienced it as an ordinary person living in Aleppo who has now had to claim refugee status. So I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, Vanessa, but what you're saying does not ring true.
With one person, to be fair.
Yeah, one person.
Yeah, want to be very fair. I've travelled around Syria.
It's one person,
but you need to
it's
be
a person
objective
who has
here.
no agenda.
You need to be objective here.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. It is one person, but no agenda.